The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schatt. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
You know, I fully understand how all of this stuff goes down when somebody's lying to your face and you know they're lying, and when somebody just decides that they're going to say stuff without backing it up, but they fully believe it. It's not hard to believe in this day and age, and I'll tell you why. Stay tuned.
And now, live from the bunkerized studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, is Rod Eccles.
Yes, indeed, it is I, your lovable host, coming to you live this Thursday morning. That's right, it is Thursday, April, number 6 in the year of our Lord 2017. 603-835-3226 is the call-in number. Glad that you are here with me this morning. You know, this whole Susan Rice thing has got a lot of people really upset, and even some on the left are a little bit upset about this, saying, you know, geez, Susan, I mean, come on, the evidence is there, the recordings are there, the written history is there, and you're still going to lie about it. Well, here's the deal. You know, this is, I was actually thinking about this, and I'm thinking, you know, when it comes to, there was more stuff yesterday that was thrown at me about chemtrails, and it got me to think, because here I am thinking, you know, we're in this day and age of there is no external privacy. I got something here on Facebook, too, that really is supposed to help people with their internal privacy. Now, let me explain what the external privacy has to do with, you know, your perceived privacy when you're out in public, when you're driving your car, when you're out walking the street, when you're, you know, at work, what have. That's external privacy. That is where your external self is. And you have a certain degree, or you think you have a certain degree of personal space and privacy when you're out in public. Well, that's your external privacy. It's something totally different when you are in a private room or a private situation or inside your home or what have you. And, you know, if you think there's no difference, well, maybe some people would, but for the vast majority of us, would you get naked out in public? Would you get naked in your office? Well, then that's a public space. Then that's public. That's where your public privacy persona comes in. Versus, you know, obviously you're going to get naked at home. Well, I know you get to go to the gym. People take. Do people still? A lot of people don't take showers at the gym. For a number of reasons, I suppose. But that's, you know, they don't. And you know, we'll let that go. But so you have this public privacy persona and you have this private privacy persona. Well, out there in public, we've got all these wonderful cameras everywhere. You know, cell phones, iPads, tablets, even, you know, drones and mini cams, and there's just cameras everywhere. You can get a camera to go almost. It costs nothing basically to get one of those mini cameras that look, you can put in place of a button on your shirt or on a lapel pin. I mean, they couple $100 or less, and you got yourself a camera. And if you're willing to spend a little bit of money, you can get these cameras that have excellent sound and excellent picture quality. These tiny little things. If you want a basic one, you can get one for a couple $100. You can probably find it on eBay secondhand too. Spy stores, are online and in San Francisco and places in New York City. You can find this stuff. It's not expensive. So with that said, I got to ask you chemtrail people, how is it that we've had this entire, double, triple decade history of chemtrails, and there's no evidence of it? No evidence of, all you do is look up in the sky and say, look, they're spraying chemtrails again. There's no evidence. I have not seen any evidence yet. Any, video evidence of anybody loading this stuff into aircraft. I have not seen any video evidence of showing the equipment that sprays this stuff out. The other day, I had somebody finally explain to me why you don't see it. Because it's in the jet fuel. So they burn it up. Well, this stuff doesn't burn, Rod. It can't burn. I mean, it can't burn. Of course it. Do you know how hot it is in a jet engine? You know how hot that fuel burns? It's why it has so much power, energy. There's not much that is going to survive that combustion system. So they can't be burning it. Did they figure out some sort of really strange chemical reaction type of thing where they could? There's no physical video or audio evidence of this stuff, which I find very interesting. But that you would think that people would be able to get evidence, but even when we have evidence that is written or video or audio, we still have people that lie to us. And we still have people that buy into that. Susan Rice didn't lie. Wait. I mean, she contradicted herself on record, on tape. Well, she still didn't do it. That's just the way you're portraying it. How do you go from, how do you say that it's me portraying the issue when it is written documentation that she asked for this stuff, but then she says she didn't ask for it? How is that being twisted on my part? So it's just one of those things that no matter what you do or what you say, even if you do have evidence, people are only going to believe what they want to believe. They're only going to see what they want to see. They're only going to understand what they want to understand. Plain and simple. I've come to that conclusion. No matter what we do or what we say, and this is very evident now, they are going to, it's already been disproven over and over again that Donald Trump didn't want or didn't participate in some Russian or British hotel, golden showers in those hotels. He didn't do that. He wasn't there. That never happened. That was made up. But yet you still have even some in the lamestream media who still bring that up as fact, even though it has been debunked over and over again. It's because they want to believe it. That's all. It doesn't matter what the truth. See, what I am coming to realize is the actual truth to some people does not matter. It is what they want to believe that is all that counts. I mean, this is worse than this is a religious cult. When you start getting people who start doing this type of behavior and engaging in this type of behavior, this is religious cult behavior. You do not question. And even though there's evidence, real physical evidence of many different kinds to the contrary, you still believe the fake part, the false part, the lie part. That is nothing more than a cultist mentality. I mean, cultists could be, David Koresh. He could have been proven nine ways a Sunday that he was not the second coming of Christ, but yet the cult members still believed because they wanted to. This is the same thing in every aspect of life. And how many times have you said, well, I don't want to believe that? Or you say, I didn't want to believe it. Well, no, look, I've said those types of things in the past as well. But see, it doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what you want to believe. What matters is the evidence to back up what you believe. I know some people are saying, oh, Rod, now you're talking about religion. How about Christians, man? Well, there's evidence of God, but that we're not going to go into a dissertation on theological terms and beliefs and benefits. But there is actual proof of that, of God. But other than that, what you have now is the left in full cult mode. That's right. Full cult mode. These people do not care about what the real, actual, provable truth is because they're only going to believe what they want to believe in the first place. I mean, how do you get to this point? I don't know how you get to this point, but the proof is in the pudding when you have, earlier this week, when you have major news outlets like CNN and MSNBC, and you have major news personalities like, Don Lemon, Chris Matthews, and others who are basically saying we're going to ignore the Susan Rice story. And to tell their listeners and followers, don't bother following that story. It's a dumb story. Why would you do that? It's a news story that other news outlets are covering. It's a real story, but you're going to say you're not going to. Why? Because you don't want to know the truth? Well, that's a cult mentality. Cults are rarely ever good for people, by the way. Have you ever noticed any cults where lives ended up, better in the long run? I mean, what's the big cult that we've seen exposed lately? It was Church of Scientology, right? The Leah Remini thing. Was it on AMC or A&E? One of those two. It's a cult mentality. If you look at if even half of what Leah Remini accuses the church hierarchy of doing or have done, even just half of it is true. It's one of the biggest, most powerful cults this planet has ever seen. No, Christianity, Judaism is not a cult. Buddhism is not a cult. Islam is a cult. Liberalism is a cult. Because it doesn't matter what the truth is. You will still go about. You don't even bother trying to change it when you're in a cult. Islam, we have a big, there's a huge pedophilia problem in Islam. Islam treats women like garbage. And yet people who are not in Islam, who say they're not in Islam, they want to turn the other cheek and say there's nothing wrong with it. The problem is not with the Islamists treating women like dirt. It's all you Republican conservatives out there who believe in the Constitution who treat women like dirt. Like Donald Trump, he's a misogynist. Really? And Bill Clinton wasn't. Donald Trump talks about grabbing a woman in her hoo-ha in a private locker room style conversation, illegally recorded, I might add. And then, but hey, Bill Clinton can do whatever he did to all these women and get away with it. And I'm not just talking about Monica Lewinsky. How many women accuse Bill Clinton of sexual deviancy or sexual assault? There's a bunch of them, were there not? And what did you leftists, all you did was traipse out a bunch of women Most of them were proven to be liars when it came to accusing Donald Trump of misconduct, sexual misconduct. Now, the woman on the plane, oh yeah, there have been at least 2 passengers come forward saying that what she said never happened. So, I mean, you're going to believe what you want to believe. And as soon as it's out there, these people, these cultists are going to always believe it, even if the evidence shows otherwise. So I'm asking for evidence on the chemtrail thing. But there are people that without that evidence, they're just going to believe it anyway because somebody once said it, and so now they want to believe it. And if evidence comes up, they don't want to see it. Susan Rice, anyone? And this is not the first time Susan Rice has been covering up or lying for Obama, by the way. Not the first time. Definitely not. And well, she's out of power, but for now. But trust me, I don't think it's going to be the last time Susan Rice gets in front of the public and lies. And there'll be people to believe her.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
603-835-3226. That is the call-in number should you wish to join me here live here on the Rod Eccles Show. Got something here that it might help to explain Lucy a little bit. This lack of belief, but I don't know if it's lack of belief as it is much of lack of attention span. But there is a study that was done out there, and this is from Yahoo News. As streaming, people aren't really even saving songs, and I don't know how this is going to play out. But evidently, except for indie artists, when it comes to the mainstream artists, music artists, I don't even know why I call them artists. I don't believe they're artists. When it comes to mainstream musicians and music stars, people aren't the Generation Z and younger millennials. They're not buying their stuff anymore. Not even as a download. What they're doing is streaming. They're paying for streaming services, like Spotify and the iHeart and iTunes. They're paying for those types of streaming services. Well, as streaming is booms, so says this particular study, the songs are getting faster. Yeah. I mean, this is. But you know what? There was a point in time when songs were getting longer. Now, the average song in the 60s was somewhere just over 2 minutes long. Think Beatles. Beatles were very simplistic. Well, they use only 4 chords in all their music. Basically, the vast majority of their music, all their hits were all 4 chords. The average song was about 2 minutes 30 seconds long. That was it. 2.5 minutes. And then that average song length grew to just over 4 minutes in the 80s. So I guess you could say that Generation X had a longer attention span because Generation X and, baby boomers, that was a generation that fueled the 80s and into the 90s. Songs that reached their pinnacle of length, their average length in the late 80s, early 90s at just over 4 minutes long. But evidently things are getting faster and shorter. Again, and we could see an average song at about 2 minutes the way things are going right now. Streaming is making making it quicker to not only play music, but a new study finds, according to this article, that pop songs themselves are getting faster as listeners' attention spans diminish. Instrumental openings to songs have shrunk dramatically over the past 3 decades, and to a lesser extent, the average tempo of hit singles has been speeding up. So says some research. Hubert Laville-Gouvin, or is it Gauvin, Gauvin, a doctoral student in music theory at The Ohio State University, analyzed the year-end top 10 on the U.S. Billboard chart between 1986 and 2015. In 86, it took roughly 23 seconds before the voice began on the average hit song. In 2015, vocals came in at a mere 5 seconds. That's an astounding drop of 78%. So these songs have sped up 78%. In a study published in a Musicae Scientiae, the Journal of European Society for the Cognitive Sciences of Music, didn't know that were such a thing, Laville-Gauvin linked the trend to the rapid rise of Spotify and other streaming sites that give listeners instant access to millions and millions of songs. It makes sense that if the environment is so competitive, artists would want to grab your attention as quickly as possible. In 2014, a study of Spotify listening habits found that 21% of songs get skipped over in the first 5 seconds. So, the MTV attention span has dropped people's attention even for music. And there is such a thing that you do know if you like something within a very relatively short period of time. Because you can pick up songs that you know in a couple of notes. I can name that song or name that tune. Remember that? Most people probably don't, younger people. There was a whole TV game show about that. I can name that tune in 5 beats. Well, I can name that tune in 4 beats. I've heard people, I could name that tune in 1 beat. And there are people who could actually do that. So 5 seconds, that's a long period of time.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
703-835-3226. Glad you are here. Continuing with this whole notion of, of the pop song thing, you can keep yourself. There are two things that you can do to make yourself a non-millennial or non-Generation Z. They gotta come up with a different name a real name for Generation Z. I don't know what they're gonna call them, but anybody got any ideas? Generation Z are those that are born between 19. Well, it really depends on who you're talking to as far as social science is concerned. Anywhere between 1998 and year 2000. They're born either 1998, 99, or 2000, all the way up through now, which they're saying is probably going to last up until 2020. So that's Generation Z. By the way, studies are showing, even though that a lot of these kids are in government public schools, they're turning out to be much more conservative than their millennial parents, and they're turning, because Generation X is actually between those born between 64 and 79 are, other than the greatest generation, Generation X is the most conservative, and Generation Z children. And these are the older Generation Z are byproducts of Generation X, but the younger Generation Z is byproducts of millennials. Believe it or not, millennials are they're 35 years old now. The older ones, so they're having they have kids that are in school that are 10, 15 years old. Can you believe that? I know. Any case. So this Generation Z is turning out to be as conservative as Generation X, if not more so. Now, we always have these pendulum swings. We have the pendulum swing with the baby boomers, and then Generation X. We looked at it and said, because I'm a Generation X baby. We're not dealing it. We're not doing the flower child. Anything feels good type of thing. And then for whatever reason, mostly because of, people will blame government indoctrination for the millennial generation being snowflakes. The millennials are snowflakes. Well, it seems like Generation Z has seen their older brothers and sisters or their parents, and they think their parents and their older brothers and sisters are idiots. Really, they really do. So right now, Generation Z, the first batch of Generation Zers are coming into adulthood. Depending, again, if you go for the whole thing that started in '98. Well, these kids are now freshmen in college. So you got freshmen and seniors in high school, or they're on the edge of adulthood now, and it's turning out that they are becoming more conservative in their thought, which is not it's a good thing. They're learning. So you can get on board. Well, their attention span, by the way, is horrendous. Generation Z's attention span is absolutely, which is the study shows this is why songs have to hook you within 5 seconds or so. Or you'll speed through. This is also why a lot of these songs they sound terrible. A lot of these hit songs, they're terrible. I know I'm getting into a personal style here and personal likes and dislikes, but is there anybody out there that thinks Drake actually has any real talent? Come on. And sure, he's got a few catchy songs out there, but is he really all that talented? So is it really that the song doesn't hook them, or is it that when they hear the first 5 seconds of a song, they already know what the song is, and they realize that the person singing it sucks? I think it's the latter. But if you want to increase your attention span, now obviously you can't, in this country, you can't do this for minors or anyone under 21. But if you're over 21 and you want to increase your brain capacity, your brain power, and your attention span, then you might want to turn to wine. Yes, if you want some mental energy, then here's a study. This is from the Daily Mail. A study was done, and evidently the conclusion of this study is a glass of Merlot, my favorite type of wine, shortly followed by a Cabernet Sauvignon in a definite flowery, earthy red Bordeaux. A glass of Merlot can give your brain a workout. Drinking wine engages the brain more than any other human behavior. Yes, Professor Gordon Shepherd said red and white wine can work out your brain. Drinking wine sparks a reaction in the sensory and emotional parts of the brain. He added, spitting out wine stops you from appreciating its complex flavor. So all of you so-called professional wine tasters, you're actually screwing yourselves by not actually swallowing. You're not getting the full punch and flavor and benefit of the wine. Look, hey, didn't Jesus Christ always talk about wine? Water into wine? He obviously knew that drinking wine was good for the brain. And we know that red wine especially is very good for your cardiovascular system and your heart. They say a glass or two of red wine a day. And I know some people are saying, well, you can replace it with, red grape juice. The reality is there's something that happens with the fermentation and with the alcohol that gives it benefits beyond even grape juice. So, yeah, it really is. Wine is better than grape juice. I mean, you can get similar benefits, not as good, but similar benefits with red grape juice, but not the same as wine, because wine isn't made with Concord grapes, and Concord grapes is usually which is the grape that is used for drinking, as a drinking juice. But you want the red wine. Obviously, now is good for the brain as well. Hey, I love wine, so maybe that's why I have a talk show. Maybe that's why I appear to be so smart, because I like to drink a lot of wine. Yeah, just saying. You ever feel sluggish if you don't drink wine? Well, hey, there is a British TV show. Now, it was on for more than one season, but I only caught one season of it. It's called Black's Books. Now, the problem, the premise of this guy had an independent, his last name was Black. Why are white people called black and black people called white? Last names. Anybody ever think of that? Just an observation. Most people with the last name White are actually black, and most people with the last name Black are actually white. Anybody ever notice that? Is that just me? Okay, probably just me. Nothing wrong with that. I don't know. Are we going to get to the point where we can say that people's last names are racist? I'm surprised we haven't gotten there yet. You need to change your last name because it's a racist last name. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, because now somebody's probably going to agree with me. Some leftist liberal is going to pick up on that and say, yeah, Rod's right, man. Some people's last names are racist. You need to change those names. You can't have a last name like Black or White or I don't know, or Blanc. Doesn't Blanc mean white man? Isn't that the white man's version of white? We're going to have to change, the names of mountains, and because Mount Blanc, man, that's a racist name. Don't. I'm surprised something like that hasn't already happened. A glass of Merlot or Sauvignon Blanc could give your brain an overall work. Do they have to change that too? Is Sauvignon Blanc, because Blanc means white? Is that going to have to be changed too? Is that a racist wine? Is white wine racist? Well, white wine isn't white. Well, then most white people aren't white either, exactly what we consider to be white. So, but I'm just, is there any, I don't know. You don't have anybody's last name Caucasian, do you? Anybody's last name Asian? No, I didn't think so. So, why are you going to have people's last name that are white and black, right? But a glass of Merlot or Sauvignon Blanc could give your brain an overall workout. Drinking wine engages more of the brain than any other human behavior, according to one leading neuroscientist. Well, hell, skip the glass and give me the bottle. Professor Gordon Shepard from the Yale School of Medicine said drinking wine sparks a reaction in both the sensory and emotional parts of the brain. Yes, indeed. He added that spitting wine out while tasting prevents you from fully appreciating its complex flavor. Instead, drinkers should swallow every drop. And he said this in his new book, Neurology, How the Brain Creates the Taste of Wine. Drinking wine is vital for obtaining the most information possible about the quality of the wine, he writes, as well as its health benefits. Well, there you go. A Yale, scientist, a Yale doctor, Yale professor has said it. Hey, he's Ivy League, man. You can't argue with these people, right? Ivy League. Yale says that wine is good for you. And, Yale professor says you should drink. Well, that's why I drink wine. Okay. In other words, let me put it to you in short. Maybe that's why millennials are drinking wine. Did you know that? Millennials are causing a boom in wine consumption. Now, I know some people are saying, well, there you go, Rod. That proves that professor is wrong right there. We got a bunch of millennials drinking a bunch of wine, and they're probably some of the dumbest people on earth. Well, look at it this way. If they didn't drink wine, how dumb would they be? just saying. But, because wine is more sophisticated, and millennials like to think that they're sophisticated people, even as they walk around town in their grunge. And they don't call it grunge. What is it called now? It's not grunge anymore. Grunge is so 90s. That's Kurt Cobain. That's passé. What is the... grunge is considered to be kind of dirty. Well, they still have that kind of style, although it's updated, if you will, into the 20 teens here, but it's still pretty similar. You still see a bunch of millennials. What you see now, what you didn't see so much back in the original grunge days of the 90s. They had the grunge hair. But today it's more dreads and beards. Unkempt hair and beards for the guys. And the girls don't, they tend to wear less makeup, which is fine by me, but unless they're liberal women. I'm sorry, but there is something about, somebody should do a study about that, because I believe that the study is going to show that conservative women, there has been studies about that. Conservative women are better looking than liberal women. I think that's the truth. Am I stepping in it when I say that? And, let's take for the guys. Conservative men are more manly than liberal men. Is there a woman out there that's going to argue with that one? If you ever, what do they, there's this term manorexia. And the feminization of, who's a male, who's more likely to be male, feminine male? Well, it's a liberal. Who's more likely to have this manorexia? They got to be, these non-muscular, tiny men. Well, they're liberal. And it's almost to the point now where I can go to YouTube and watch some of these YouTubers, and I can almost with pinpoint accuracy tell you who's a conservative and who's a liberal, just by their speech pattern, how they use their gestures. Italians they use their hands a lot, right? But those are masculine male gestures in Italian. Not so when you get to millennials, especially American millennials. I mean, like, are you a girl or are you a guy? Maybe that's why we have so many sexual orientations. Because they even, millennials can't figure out what the hell they are.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
So wine engages your brain. But we still have a bunch of people out there that fall into this cultish mentality. They will believe things that they want to believe. Does wine help you believe the truth, or does it help you stay the course and believe what you want to believe? Maybe somebody should do a study on that. But this whole notion that, let me give you another example here. You know, we have these people that believe that there are crisis actors out there, and that these crisis actors are used over and over again in different crises. I mean, take for instance, there are supposed pictures of the same people at Sandy Hook and at Pulse nightclub and at other places where there were active shooters, mass shootings. And even though when you actually do face recognition scanning of the pictures of these people, they're found to be different people. But the people who believe that they're the same, that there are crisis actors out there, they want to believe that this is a conspiracy. They want to believe that Sandy Hook especially was a conspiracy of the government. Now, granted, there are some strange things about Sandy Hook. I'm not going to deny that. But to say that this was a complete and total conspiracy concocted by the Obama administration to steal our guns is a bit far-fetched, don't you think? But these are people that will believe this no matter what. You could even show them evidence that it was not. Thinking, granted, there are some. We're not being told the whole story behind Sandy Hook. I firmly believe that there are too many holes. But to have it to go so far as to say that, well, Barack Obama and his administration is behind this, but there's no evidence of that. But they will make up the evidence, and you can even produce evidence that disproves their so-called evidence, and that's irrefutable. By the way, as irrefutable as the sun comes up in the east. Do you know that there are people that still believe the planet is flat? There are people that still believe the Earth is flat. And no matter what you do, no matter what kind of scientific evidence you present them, because they want to believe that the Earth is flat, because for whatever reason they can't comprehend the theory of gravity, they think that if you're on a ball and you're on the bottom side of the ball or you're in the side of the ball, you're going to fall off. Now, where are you going to fall to? I don't know. Where does all the water flow to when it falls off the edge of the Earth? Remember, all those pictures that say if you go too far to the west, you're going to fall off the Earth. The Atlantic Ocean somehow stops and just drops off. It's the end of the Earth, end of the world. You're going to fall. So where does the water go? And where do we get the new water to replace the water that's dropped off? I mean, this isn't and his series of, he's got a new one by the Pirates of the Caribbean. He's got a new one coming out, I do believe, or did it already come out? I don't know. It isn't Pirates of the Caribbean. What was it? 3 when he was dead, and they brought him back. I think. You do so. What are we on now? 5. This is This is 5, right? The new one that's coming. It's hard to keep track of some of these sequels. They get so damn many of them. Whatever happened to there being a trilogy? Trilogy was the full effect of a movie, unless of course you had Lord of the Rings, in which case. It probably should have been more than just a trilogy, but whatever happened to the trilogy? They can't let these things go. Then we get, in movie number 4, 5, 6. What are we on Friday the 13th, number 9? There's talk of still getting to 13 movies of Friday the 13th. I don't know if they're actually going to make it. So what are they on, 9 or 10 now? Anyway, by the way, I did get to see a pirated version. Well, it's not pirated, but on a legit movie. I don't know why it's on the legit. I'm not questioning. It was on a legit movie service because you had to answer a few questions, and I didn't have to give him my credit card information because I wouldn't have done it. But you had to answer some questions in order to sign up, and I got to see. I haven't finished it yet because it was late at night after just blowing off some steam here in the studio. Watch the Shin Godzilla, the Toho's latest Godzilla version, all Japanese, but it had English subtitles. They didn't dub it; it was just English subtitles. So Godzilla, certain movies like that are characters they can keep doing, but then you got to wonder why do they keep making Pirates of the Caribbean? I don't know. Is people's attention spans that short? We'll see.
America is America because it is so American. The children, they are the future of children, and she loves the children. Diversity is diverse when diversity is diversified. For a future you can see, for a future that brings with it all the hopes of tomorrow. By doing everything we did yesterday, we need a leader. We need a champion. We need her.
Vote for me. It's enough now. Give me it. It's mine. I want it. Just give me it. I want it now.
Stop asking questions and just give it to her already. Or you're a sexist, racist.
Paid for by criminals and idiots for Hillary Clinton, because let's face it, you'd have to be one or the other to vote for this complete monster.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
Please hold.
Hello.
Please hold.
It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Got some breaking news out there about Mr. Nunes. He's stepping aside. Plus, what the hell is Ryan doing with the tax cuts and Obamacare? Got some news on that. But first, we have a special guest on just the side of this break, so don't go anywhere. It's going to be an exciting hour.
And now, live from the bunkerized studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, it's Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 here on the Rod Eccles Show. Thank you for tuning in. Here it is, Thursday, March number 6 in the year of our Lord 2017. The call-in number is 603-835-3226 should you wish to participate vocally. Otherwise, you can just participate, non-vocally by listening. Is that eerily? No, that wouldn't be the right word. We'll have to figure out the word. Trying to be a wordsmith, sometimes you can't find the right word to use. But in any case, yes, here we are. It's a gloomy Thursday here in northern New England, but at least it's not snowing. That's the good thing. It's April. We're going to have 70-degree weather next week, is what they're saying. But I guarantee there's a very good chance that next week will be in the 60s and 70s, and the week after that, we will have a snowstorm. Typical of this time of year. Any case, this morning we have a special guest calling in, and this is Joe Concannon. He's out of New York City. He's running for office in New York City. Now, this gentleman came to me, or I was pretty much turned on to this guy by one of the super fans of this program, and I've read a lot of his tweets and some other stuff that he's put out there, and this guy's he's kind of the real deal. He's a conservative out of New York City. I know some people are saying that's an oxymoron, but no, not really. Good morning, Joe Concannon. How are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Rod. And thanks for having me on the program.
Thanks for being here. Look, again, we're talking New York City here. The favorite hangout space of the Clintons, and the city that went from Bloomberg to de Blasio. I'm sorry, I should be more. He's not my mayor. I don't live in New York City, so I don't have to be so respectful. But Mayor de Blasio is far from being a conservative. So some people could say that you've gone from center left to full-fledged left with de Blasio, but now there's talk of Clinton, Hillary possibly running for mayor. What is that going to do to New York City?
It's never going to happen. New York City is enjoying what the people in Mass Beth call him the dope from Park Slope. He's taken over the reins of City Hall. He's not going to give it up. Charles Schumer has made sure that he's not going to be indicted by the federal U.S. attorney. So they threw that case out when it had what we believe is plenty of merit. We're gonna be stuck with Bill de Blasio. I think our one hope in New York City is probably going to get somebody that's going to be, I don't know, call him Giuliani light. Paul Massey is probably the guy with the lungs and the financial pockets to take it on. However, I've got to say this, because there's a very good friend of mine running out there as well, Reverend Michael Faulkner. Mike is just a great guy, but I don't know how that would play out across the city of New York and the 5 boroughs. It's a very, very liberal city, and Massey can probably better fill the bill citywide. Hillary Clinton, I can't even believe people are still thinking about that. Haven't we had enough, folks?
You would
Come
think.
on.
You would think. Now, Joe. Now you are. What district and position are you running for in New York?
All right, so let me define it for people on the show that may not know it. The city of New York is made up of 5 separate boroughs. All right, and there are 51 city councilmen elected to office. I am in the borough of Queens, and my seat would be the furthest seat away from City Hall, the very most Eastern Queens seat, which is District 23, and roughly just counting it out for people who may know it. It's Belrose, Floral Park, New Hyde Park, Queens Village, Hollis Hills, Jamaica Estates, Oakland Gardens, part of Douglaston and Little Neck. Just wonderful, wonderful bedroom communities of New York City. This is where all the hard-working people live that are in, for the most part, 1 and 2 family houses. We have about 3 or 4 what I would call multi-level apartment houses. Some of them like North Shore Towers, which are just liberal bastions because, Chuck Schumer's family supposedly is in there, and a few of the other elected Democrats put their moms and dads in there as well. So that's kind of like a human wasteland over there so far as a Republican is concerned. But there are pockets of conservatives and Republicans, and, we go after all of them. Even those, I hate to say this, but those moderate Democrats, we try and pull them in too. You got to remember, Bill de Blasio has built his campaign and his administration on what divides us in New York City, and he's not really given us a vision of how to unite us. And that's one of the things.
Anyway, it's always about divide. There's no uniting in there. And speaking of dividing,
it's all identity politics.
New York City is actually, what most people don't realize, that New York City is very diverse. And when you say that your district is made mainly of single family homes, duplex homes, that's not what most people think of when they think of New York City. They think of tenements and high rises, and you go to Brooklyn and it's still a bunch of tenement buildings. You go to the Bronx and obviously it's in Brooklyn, it's tenement buildings. But there are plenty of places where it's more suburban in its feel within New York City limits.
Without a doubt. And for those people that are on the line and that are listening to this now live or maybe afterwards, they should understand New York is absolutely a fabulous, fabulous place, New York City. And the 5 boroughs, the district I live in, we are made up of, just so many different ethnic groups. It's absolutely incredible. I'll give you one great example, Rod. You'll love this. All right. So I'm handing out palm cards at a Gulf station up on Union Turnpike and Springfield Boulevard. A guy pulls in. He wants to get gas. I said, "Hey, my name's Joe Kincannon. I'm running for city council. Here's my card." All right. He says, "Oh, what is this all about?" And I tell him. And then I said, "Oh, do you live around here?" And he says, "Oh, yes, I live down the block." And I said, "Oh, that's great." And all of a sudden we get in. He says, "I'm from Georgia." And I said, "Oh, really? The state of Georgia? Wow, terrific." No. I am from the Republic of Georgia. We are like Republicans. We like you, And I'm like, I can't believe this. Here I am sitting in in Eastern Queens, and I'm meeting a guy from the Republic of Georgia. I go to another stop. I'm meeting some Christian Pakistani guy called Tariq. all right? And he's telling me, hey, we believe in the Republican message. We're from Pakistan. We're the Christian Pakistanis. We believe in that. No sooner than that, I'm in the Jain community, which is, the South Asian community, and they're telling me, hey, listen, we are with you guys 150%. So, my point here is that there's a lot of rich ethnic cultures, and we are probably one of the most diverse city council seats in the city of New York. And these people are Republicans. Some of them don't know it because when they came into the country, they were introduced to, the Democratic, bastion of New York City. You have to join the Democratic Party. Well, we're slowly but surely, we're turning the tide on them because they're entrepreneurs. They believe in family values. And
they don't believe in government
frankly,
government assistance for everything.
Not at
that's
all.
what they're trying to escape.
Not at all.
Many of them, that's what they're trying to escape. Yeah.
And the guy that lived, in a all democratically controlled district, is as we get the word out to these people, they're nodding their heads and they're saying, yeah, we believe education is the most important because we want our kids to excel. We don't want them to be dependent on anyone. And that's the thing that's, reverberating all over the place. And it's just terrific. And, I'm enjoying, fabulous cheese bread from Georgia and their delicacies and their wines and cinnamon tea from my friends in the Pakistani community and the Indian community and all of these different things. And it's wonderful because we all think and believe alike. Just
now, you guys
some of them
haven't
just really know it yet.
You haven't obviously you haven't abandoned New York City proper and New York State as a whole. Much of lower New York State is very liberal, and that pretty much rules the rest of the state, which is why you guys can't get rid of the Cuomos. But what is it do you think that the Republican Party really needs to do in places like that? Because they're sort of writing off California, they're starting to write off New York State, they've written off Massachusetts pretty much. Should we do that? You're right in the heart of it, New York, where it looks like they're starting to write off New York City and just hand it over permanently to Democrats. And I say that's a mistake because New York is not only the country's largest city, it is our most world famous city. It is, when people think of America, they think of two places mostly, not even D.C. They think New York City and they think Hollywood. Both are liberal bastions right now. What is it do you think that you guys can do or need to do in New York to turn that around?
Well, I'm going to put a plug in here, and then I'm going to tell you what's going on statewide. www.joe4ny.com. Make a donation. Get me elected to office. All right? Anything from $10 up, whatever you can do. All right? In New York State, this is what's going on, Rod. We have a great state chairman in Ed Cox right now, and GoRedNY.com is out there, and Ed is working with all of the county chairmen, and he has helped the downstate counties by supplying telephone apparatus and technology, quite frankly, so that we become more digital and so that we can wake up the Republican voting base in the downstate area. Sometimes, such as myself, I want to win an election here for city council, right? But sometimes when you're talking about statewide offices like the state controller, the governor, and the criminal justice seat, all right, you don't necessarily have to win New York City by 50%. All right. If you can win it by 35%, then, in all of the other counties in New York State, we win, and we win big. All right. Most people do not know this, but there are 62 counties in New York State, and except for the 5 boroughs of the city of New York, we generally win all the other counties. And so the project in New York City is to try and get the city to vote its natural constituency in the Republican Party, to get them out to vote so that they understand that winning, all right, it's going to be nice if we can win the mayoralty, controller seat and the city advocate seat. But on a statewide basis, it's important to get our voting numbers up, all right, because it's depressed right now. Numbers are naturally depressed when you don't win elections, or when you don't run, or when you don't run candidates. All right.
I'm originally from Syracuse, New York, so I'm familiar with the upstate versus the downstate type of issues and things like that.
So, I've been going to all the Republican dinners, and I can tell you that the city chair people that I've been talking to from the GOP, I can speak specifically about Bob Turner in Queens. He's doing a tremendous job in trying to run candidates, get people motivated, and get the vote out. He's got a telephone bank where he's calling Republicans, almost on a daily basis and saying, hey, listen, the election cycle's coming up. Petitions start on June 6th. If you can walk the streets, if you're a registered Republican, you can walk the streets starting June 6th right up until July 6th and get our candidates on the ballot. That's the first job. Then get out there in the streets, help them knocking on doors and all these different things. And that's what Bob Turner is doing. And he's doing that in Queens County. The same thing's happening in Brooklyn. The same thing's happening in Staten Island. Adele Malpass is knocking it out of the park in Manhattan. And we have a new county leader up in the Bronx, and he just had a tremendous dinner. I think he had close to 450 people in, I forget the name of the catering hall that we were all at, but it was a beautiful event. And the place was absolutely packed.
No, we had an article or a story earlier this week about New York State and New York City is still losing population. You got a bunch of people exiting because of the extremely high taxes. I mean, is there anything in the works, or what are some of the Republican plans to reverse that trend?
Yeah. Well, that's part and parcel part of the problem. I've seen Rob Astorino. He's county executive up in Westchester County. He actually has done a wonderful job at really bringing out what's going on in New York City. And if you go to the Tax Foundation and the Empire report and a number of things like that here in New York State, what you're saying is validated. We are losing more people. We're losing more businesses. But more germane to where I live in Queens County, all right, and the city of New York, there's something called the Queens Civic Congress. It's like an umbrella group or board for all the little tiny little civic associations that are all over the place in Queens and in the city. And what they came out with is under the de Blasio administration, we're losing 1,000 small businesses a month. And they have articulated that, all right, that means 8,000 jobs a month, because they're figuring about 8 people per small business. So, those are some of the things that are going on here in New York. Now, obviously, if I come in, I'm going to be one person in a group of very few, all right, because the majority of the city council members, except for 3 or 4 of them, are Republican. So what we've got to do, though, is we've got to be that voice for those small businesses and for the taxpayers of the city of New York. Too often, these public officials are trying to placate special interest groups, and some of them, quite frankly, Rod, aren't even the taxpayers.
Yeah,
all right?
That's right.
They're just special interest groups.
They're from out of state even. Sorry to cut you off, Joe, but we are running out of time. We're up against a hard break. Tell us again how people can reach you and support you.
Oh, well, if you go to my website, www.joe4ny.com, you can certainly get me there. I'm up on Twitter as well, Joe_4_NY. And we're up on Facebook as well. You can find us at Concannon Joe, or you can get me on my personal page, Joseph R. Concannon, and that's CONCANNON. And if you go to any of my pages, just make a donation. You know, I don't want anybody to give us a lot of money. All we were looking for is really something between $10 and $100. And if a lot of people can do that, then no one owns us. You know, the real estate developers don't own us. The unions don't own us. Nobody owns us. And we can go into City Hall and be that mouthpiece and that voice for the people of the city of New York. And hopefully, as Chairman Cox would say, you know, make New York red.
There you go. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day today, Joe, to join us. Joe Concannon,
Rod,
everybody.
Thank you, and thank all your viewers for all they do. Thank you.
We'll be back, folks. Thanks, Joe.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Went a little bit long in that segment with potential Counselor Joe Concannon. Gotta love that New York accent, don't you, folks? But he sounds like he's the real deal on the conservative side, and that's what New York City needs more of. Can you imagine losing up to 8,000 jobs a month because you're losing all those small business in New York City, especially in big cities? Small business, as well as in small towns, is the backbone of the economy. It's not the big corporations. Sure, Manhattan has all the big high-rise, corporate headquarters, but that's not what it's really like for the rest of the city and for everyday citizens. But hey, hopefully Joe can make some inroads along with the rest of the people in the Republican Party. Don't abandon the Big Apple, folks. It's all I can say. Don't abandon New York City. Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
Yes. Welcome back. I am your lovable host, L. Rod, the bringer of truth, the lightning rod, nitro rod, the rod of truth. And how many other? What else is there out there? I should maybe I should have I should put all those nicknames up on my website. Speaking of the website, and by the way, if you people, and there have been nicknames that I've been given, I've seen over on Twitter and Facebook and other places. I appreciate that. I really, even those of you who don't like me, that's okay. By the way, for those of you who don't like me, there is a troll over on Facebook who seems to think that his opinion of me should affect me to no end. That right there tells you that the guy doesn't listen to the program. He doesn't read much of what I write, because if he did, he would know I don't give a flip what he thinks. One of the things that is very surprising to a lot of people is when you have people who are so self-confident, not in an arrogant fashion, but they have self-confidence. And their self-confidence is at such a level as to where they don't care what other people think. Now, liberals have trouble with this type of mindset because they're all about what other people think. You know, they don't want to be, and this is where a lot of Republicans, and even to some degree some conservatives, fall into this trap. They got to get other people to like you. No, you don't. You don't got to get anybody to like you at all. All you have to do is be yourself, and what you're going to find out is people are just going to gravitate to you naturally because you're honest. You're not trying to be fake. You're not trying to please other people. I don't do that. I don't. You know, I have said many times before, I wouldn't care if the only person who listened to this program was my mom. I wouldn't. She doesn't listen to political radio at all anyway, but. Even if I was just talking to myself, I wouldn't care. Really. Now, obviously, I'm trying to convince as many people as possible to think logically, so I want as many people as possible to listen and to be exposed to this program. But I don't care if people don't like me. I mean, that's not my problem. You know, one of the things that one of my mentors out there, Les Brown, once said, he talked about success. He's a motivational speaker and writer, and he talks about success. And he always says, you know what? There are a number of things that are not your business. Go after the thing that you want with determination and stern pertinacity. And everybody usually stops and says, well, how am I going to do it? And he always says, how is none of your business? Just do it. And people also say, well, people aren't going to like me, and what do they think of me, and what are they going to think of me if I do it this way? And he says again, what people think of you is none of your business. You can't control what other people think anyway. But this is what many of politicians, especially in the left, try to do. They try to manipulate what you think about them and their ideas. Instead of just telling you their ideas and why they think those ideas are good, they try to manipulate you in some way to get you to think the way they think. And some of that manipulation comes in the form of laws. And I got to tell you, there are a lot of people, even conservatives, fall into this trap about hate laws. Now, there was an article the other day about, I think it's Kentucky. The state of Kentucky is considering legislation making it a hate crime to attack a cop. Even something as simple as the simple assault could be construed as a hate crime. And I said, I'm not behind that. Because I don't believe in any hate law legislation. None of it. Because let's face it, if somebody commits a criminal act on you, it's usually not an act of love. So why do you want to single out certain groups of people? As you know, oh, okay, so you're white, but you attack a black person, so you deserve 20 years in jail, versus if you did the exact same thing to another white person, then that's not so bad, so you only get 10 years in jail. What? Why? That makes no sense. To a liberal, it makes sense. But to everybody else, it doesn't make sense. But you got more and more people who are falling into this notion of hate crime legislation. Why don't we just make it all very severe? If it's a bad enough crime that you want to make hate crime legislation to make it more severe, then why not make all of that type of crime that severe? Seems to me that would be fair, reasonable, and logical. It doesn't matter your motivation. But see, they try to manipulate people into thinking that motivation is all that counts. No, it doesn't matter what the motivation is. I don't care if it's a KKK or a Nazi skinhead that kills a black teenager. It doesn't matter. Or if it's another black that kills. Why is it if a black teenager kills a black teenager, that black teenager that did the crime is not going to be punished as severely as if a skinhead teenager did the crime? That makes no sense to me. The crime is a crime. The victim is still dead. People need to be punished for that. Who did it? People who did it need to be punished severely. It doesn't matter what their motivation is. It doesn't matter the color of their skin or the amount of melatonin or melanin in their skin. They need to be punished equally harshly. Plain and simple. So I don't. This is why I don't. And every time we turn around, they want to introduce another small group into it. Basically, what it does, what hate crime legislation, hate crime laws does, it does nothing more than to serve as a wedge to divide us even further. That's all it does. And if you can, we're now starting to see that type of division sort of ricochet backwards, because now it's at the point where if you are a white male, oh my God, you are berated. I mean, and you have a bunch of people that are trying, because white male in this country is so berated that you have a bunch of ethnic people who are being convinced that they're no longer white. Now, it used to be that, if you were of Spanish descent, European, you were white. Now you're not. Well, now you're construed as being Latin or Latino or Hispanic, but they used to be considered being white. But because of this downgrading and demonizing of white males, you don't want to be associated with being white. I mean, I don't blame Latinos for not wanting to be white in this country, simply because of what this country has done to white people. That's ridiculous. What are we going to have? And now, if you look at some of the governmental papers, you've got two classifications of white people, or excuse me, of Latino people. You've got Latinos and of non-Puerto Rican descent, and you've got Puerto Ricans. Well, are Puerto Ricans not Latino? Well, no, they're a special kind of Latino, I guess. Well, I mean, technically they are, because they are U.S. citizens, but other than that, now they're special. They have to be broken out. Are you Puerto Rican Latino, or are you Latino? What are we going to have? Are we going to start changing? Are you Mexican Latino or in Brazilian Latino? Is that where? Yes, that is where this is really going to end up, folks, if we're not careful with it. And you're going to have hate crime legislation that says that crimes against Latinos should be punished more severely than if it's a crime against a Puerto Rican Latino. Don't doubt me on this. This is where we're headed. This is where we're headed. And I still have not had anybody tell me or give me logical reason why we should delineate more severe punishment for crimes against certain people than if the exact same crime was committed against the less protected people, like white people. I mean, white people that have no protection whatsoever. Anyway, I'm a black guy, and I'm telling you, you don't. White people don't have any protection. You guys are hanging out there in the wind, but you white people still keep electing these white liberals, telling you that white people are undeserving and they're filthy garbage and trash. Just saying. I know. I'm not supposed to bring that kind of stuff up. Especially, I'm a black guy. Rod, you're supposed to be on the side of the minority. Well, as I have pointed out numerous times, we're all minorities once you start adding up the numbers versus Asians. And I'm talking about the traditional Asian, not the subcontinent Asian of India and Pakistan. I'm talking about Asian. The people that we used to say the yellow man. They're half the world's population, basically. So that means that the rest of the world is made up of all the other ethnic backgrounds. So we're all, minorities. And it's, hey, and white people aren't allowed to have their own country either. Did you notice that? If you get people in Europe, Northern Europe, that want to keep their culture going, well, they're considered to be racist if they don't want people coming in and changing that. You ever know? Is it bad for the Nordic countries of Sweden, Finland, Norway, Scandinavia, all those countries to want to be predominantly white? Because that's what they are. Is there no place, no country that white people can allow to call their own? Really? Has anybody ever asked that question? Why is it that the white man can't have their own country? Now granted, here that's not here in the USA. We're homogenized society with people from all over the planet. But you got the old world. Why is it okay that for China can still stay Chinese, but Sweden can't stay Swedish? I don't understand that. I just don't. By the way, folks, I want to let you know that there are some changes coming, and they're being implemented as we speak to some of my social media outlets and the website. You're going to notice if you don't follow the Rod Eccles Show over on Pinterest, you're going to be missing out on a lot of stuff, because that's where you're going to find a lot of the daily memes are going to be popping up over there, because it's easier to share over there. You're going to see them on the website rodeccles.net, along with the whiteboard wisdom. First post of that was yesterday afternoon, as promised. And we're going to be adding a bunch of other stuff. So I know is whiteboard, is that going to be construed as being racist too? I don't. What are the? Well, what is the other term for a whiteboard? It's not. Well, you can't call it a blackboard anymore, right? You're supposed to say chalkboard, because after all, some blackboards aren't black; they're actually green. I remember most blackboards are black. That's why they call it blackboard. Some slate blackboards are actually green in color, but those are rare. You don't see as many of those because the chalk is white, and it shows up better on a black background. I don't know where we're going with this. This is why I don't like political correctness. I don't follow it. I don't believe in it. I am anti-politically correct. I'm politically incorrect, and that's the way I'm going to be. I'm going to say things the way they have always been said, in the way that they always should be said, because I'm not changing the meaning of this stuff just to fit somebody's sensitive self-worth. That's what it all comes down to, folks. You got people that are overly sensitive about ridiculous stuff. And, hell, if college students need a safe space, what about the rest of us? Just saying, hey, we're going to start having nuclear bombs fall out of the sky because nobody wants to take on, places like Iran and North Korea. But so run to your safe space when they start falling. Let's see how well that protects you.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Welcome back, 603-835-3226. Notice I play more than 5 seconds of the bumper music. I guess it's because I'm old school. I like to listen to more than just the first 5 seconds of a song, unless I already know what the song is, and then I do the same thing. And look, we all do it. If you know, you ever driving down the road and you hear a song that you absolutely hate, but you know within the first note or two what the song is, so you flip the station? But evidently that's what millennials and Generation Z is doing a lot of, and they're saying it's because of their lack of, they have this ultra MTV attention span, their lack of attention span. I don't think it's that at all. I think what it is really is that people of all generations, but especially of the millennial and Generation Z, they don't have time for stuff that they don't particularly like anymore. If they have control over it, they don't want to deal with things they don't like. And I think you're seeing that expressed in their music. If they don't like the song, they already know what it is. So they don't need to listen to it any longer than 5 seconds. And I think what is happening is the reason why these musicians are vocalizing their music so soon is because it sucks. It really does, and they're shortening the length of the songs because their songs suck. It's one thing if you have, there was a point when songs were getting longer, but they weren't repeating the hook in the chorus over and over and over again. Today, what you got is you have the non-chorus. First, the songs start with a chorus, and then you got the non-chorus, and then it goes to the chorus, and then you got a repeat of the non-chorus, and then you got the chorus, and the chorus, and then the chorus, and then the chorus. And so the songs they're not worth being 4 minutes long anymore. That's the whole point. I don't know if it's lack of talent or lack of imagination or both. But even some of the songs that I like, they hook. They have a nice hook. And I'm not going to mention any artists. There is one particular song from Drake, even though I think Drake sucks. There's one song that I really liked by Drake, but when I actually started paying attention to the lyrics, I realized, wait, he repeated the non-chorus lyrics 3 times. The song, you got the non-chorus, hook, chorus, non-chorus, hook, chorus, non-chorus, hook, chorus, hook, chorus, hook, chorus, hook, chorus. But the non-chorus was exactly the same in segment 1, 2, and 3. And I realized that, and I'm like, why do I like this song? It's overly simplistic. It makes no sense. Maybe it's just the melody. Yeah, this probably was the music in it, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's the best part of it was just the chorus. But so that's why these kids today don't have time for that. We were more patient. Today's youth are impatient. Older generations are more patient. The old patience is a virtue. Well, I don't think millennials and Generation Zers know that saying at all. They don't. I think this happens a lot with politics, which is why you get some people that get upset with Donald Trump because he's not moving fast enough. Yeah, I've had some people tell me this, in various places. Well, we don't think he's moving fast enough. Well, he can't do it all. He's not a potentate. He's not Obama. He can't do it all by himself. There's only so much that he realizes he can do through executive order. Everything else has to come through Congress. So, and Congress has never moved fast. See, they've always moved slower than because now you're looking at tax cuts. Ryan saying tax cuts could take longer than Obamacare repeal. Well, Obamacare repeal is not done yet, and so tax cuts and reestablishing and redoing the entire tax system, reforming the tax system is going to take longer than Obama. So, in other words, it's not going to get done either, according to Rod. Look, folks, you have to understand, I've said this time and time again, even the Republican blue bloods, they don't particularly like Trump, and they will act like they're actually trying to work on stuff, but, this is such hard work, it's so hard. Everything is so hard, but yet they're only going to be in session this month for about a week, and they're going to be on vacation for 3 weeks in the month of April. Work a week, be on vacation for 3 weeks. I mean, what other job can you do that on? But the American populace is going to say that Trump isn't moving fast enough. How the hell can he move any faster if Congress is on vacation for 3 weeks out of 4? I mean, this is just well, folks, it is what it is, right?
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. It's Rod Eccles.
Well, welcome back. Hour number 3. Hard to believe that it's hour number 3 already, but I don't know what happened there. We had a brief freeze, I guess. Time stood still on the on my broadcast computer for some reason. I have no idea why. Again, just my ongoing war. One of these days, I am going to win the war on technology. I'm just going to win it. I mean, I'm like George Washington back during the Revolutionary War. Washington lost battle after. I mean, if you want to talk about wins and losses, his win-loss ratio was terrible. He lost far more battles than he won. But in the end, he actually won the war. And that was, and it was not easy. It was not easy fighting the Revolutionary War. I mean, you're talking about a non-trained army going up against the world's superpower of the day. And yeah, we needed help. And, in order to make that happen, in order for us to win. And we got some help from the French, although not a whole hell of a lot, to tell you the truth. If you actually look at the historical record, the French, they helped us at key times, like basically the last one when they blockaded the British out of the harbor there for Washington to finally make the final win. But most of the time, they didn't really help all that much. Which is why, Washington was very good at retreating. Just look at the historical record. It wasn't because he was a terrible tactician. Washington was actually a rather brilliant military general and military tactician. He just didn't have the tools that would allow him to win more often at the time. And that's the truth. But when he was able to turn things in his favor, it was brutal for the British. Brutal. Which is why the Brits could never catch him and crush him. Because Washington, with up against a far superior force, outsmarted them. That takes a brilliant general, basically. I know you got some people who say, Washington was a terrible general because he lost more than he won. Now, let me tell you, he didn't get caught. The British were unable to crush the rebellion. When you're up against superior numbers and superior equipment and superior training, and you still win, that's a brilliant tactician right there. It really is. No two ways about that whatsoever. Any case, Paul Ryan is saying that, by the way, 603-835-3226 is the call-in number as we continue on with the Rod Eccles Show here on this Thursday, April number 6 in the year of our Lord 2017. Ryan says tax cut reform could take longer than health care overhaul. Yes, this is from Yahoo News, actually, and these people are actually very happy about this, I'm sure, on the left. Very happy about it. U.S. Representative, Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, said yesterday that tax reform will take longer to accomplish than repealing and replacing Obamacare would. It says Congress and the White House were initially closer to agreement on health care legislation than they are on tax policy. Now, folks, let me tell you what that means. Now, we've heard some of the things that Trump would like to see in tax reform. Now I know I brought to you yesterday that they would be considering a VAT tax, value-added tax, and or a carbon tax. Putting that aside, when you have the president who wants to lower tax rates, especially the corporate tax rate, and you have Ryan saying that they are not very close when it comes to the policy on taxation, that tells you one thing. The president is headed in the direction of what the people want. The Republican leadership is not. And as I have said numerous times, that you guys got sound out there? Just want to make sure everybody has sound. If you can hear me, say yes. But one of the things that you have to understand that I have said over and over again is that the blue blood Republicans, they don't want necessarily smaller government. They want government. They just want to be in charge of the big governmental machine. So, you know, you can take that as you know, as you want to take that, I guess. But Ryan is now a blue blood. Now I know he got elected by being not a blue blood, but he was quickly converted to a blue blood once he got into power. Yeah, I don't know, but I guess you could say that there was a real transformation when he got close to the presidency. He got real close to the presidency. And, well, I mean, they lost. But when you in order to do that, he had to moderate his positions. Now, he was already on the pathway to moderation and moderating in some of his positions and policy beliefs. But once he was on that doorstep, there was no turning back. And so, he didn't get to be vice president or president, so he's Speaker of the House. And he manipulated I'm sorry, folks, but he manipulated his way into the speakership. It was a brilliant marketing maneuver. Make people think that the thing that you want really bad, that you don't want at all. You don't want it at all. Make them think that you really do. And then not only do you make them think you really don't want it, make them think that the only way you're going to placate them and take the job is if they do it his way. That's a brilliant marketing move. But what is one of the most successful negotiating tactics? Make people think that you don't care about particular items. You know, what are you supposed to do when you go in and buy a car? You're not supposed to, if you are a good negotiator when it comes to buying stuff like automobiles, you are not supposed to let the salesman know that you really want that car in that color. And there is a lot of truth to that. I mean, I remember when I bought my first, when I, on my own, without my father, went and bought my first car. It was a Mustang. Bought a Mustang, 83 Mustang, 4-speed GL. I made the mistake of letting the salesman see that I really liked and wanted that car. Because when I came in and say, well, I think it's a little overpriced, and it was at the time, he didn't budge in the price because he knew I wanted that car. Now, my second car that I bought, I got it at a really good deal, and the car that I have now, I just made it sound like, you know what? I don't care if I get it from you or somebody else. I want this kind of car, but this is what I'm going to pay for it. Or I don't care if I get it from you. And I made the dealership that I got the car from bend over backwards. because I made it very clear that I was going to get a car. It didn't have to be that one, and it didn't have to be from them. And I was willing to walk away because I had walked away before, and they saw that. So when you start saying that, you know what, no matter how much you like that car, if you make it clear to them and they actually believe that you will walk away from the deal, they're going to bend over backwards for you. When they know that you love the car and you're not going to walk away from it, then they've got you. And they, on that first car that I bought all by myself, that salesman had me. Yeah, I bought the car. But I couldn't negotiate anything because he had me. He knew I was not going to walk away. But when it came to the current car that I have, this TC, I walked away from dealerships in a heartbeat. I even had a couple of them trying to call me back. I said, nope, not interested now. In the final dealership that I finally went to get the car, I just said, look, this is the deal. They tried to change the deal when I got there. I said, no, I'm leaving. I told you. And they go, well, no. What else can we do? And I actually got them. I was willing to settle for, I had a beater of a car, by the way. Let me just, quick story. I had it was an 86 Chevy Celebrity. This thing had miles on it, and it was just literally falling apart. I mean, it needed new brakes. It needed new springs. It still had a carburetor. The carburetor was getting all fouled up. It was on its last legs. And it wasn't going to pass the New Hampshire State safety inspection if I didn't put a lot of money and work into it. I knew this. But you know what? I used that car as my trade. I bought the car for $500, just as just bought because I needed a vehicle, and in between vehicles at the time, spent $500 on this. It lasted me a year. Great. I used it so basically the first dealership said, well, we can give you $500 as a trade-in credit. Great. The last dealership I went into, I said, you know what? I've gone through all this mess with so many of you. You're going to give me $600 trade for this car. He said, well, because they couldn't negotiate. There was no negotiating allowed, I guess, from Toyota on the TCs. The price was, the non-negotiating thing on the price of the car. But fine. We're going to negotiate on the trade. He said, you're going to give me $600 or I walk. Because they were trying to play games with me, and I was willing to walk anyway. And they said, okay, fine, we'll give you $600. I paid $500, had a $600 trade-in allowance. I made $100 on that car in a year. Basically because I knew the negotiation game was be willing to walk away from the deal. Because if you're willing to walk away, you will eventually get exactly what you want, and you're more than likely to get more than what you originally wanted and asked for. And I did. But that first car, he probably could have said, you know what, there's an additional fee on this thing, so it's gonna be another couple $100 for it. And I probably would have went for it because I stupidly wanted that car. So this was what Ryan did to become speaker. He basically told everybody, well, I don't really want this. I got family obligations, and he used all that kind of BS on people. And the conservative caucus in the House fell for it. Everybody fell for it. Yeah, he's the guy. We should, look, see, he doesn't even really want the job, so that means he's really not going to be all into, this power struggle and power thing like Boehner was, and he's worse than Boehner when it comes to power. Believe it or not, folks, in some ways, Ryan is worse than Boehner. Really, look at his record and tell me that I'm wrong. In some ways, Speaker Ryan is worse than Speaker Boehner. And he got to that position simply by making people believe that he didn't want it and he was willing to walk away from it. Now, he probably really was willing to walk away from it, but Don't tell me he didn't want it. A guy that runs for the presidency or vice presidency, you cannot tell me that he would not want the speakership if they're handing it to him. No, not only were they handing it to him, but he made them beg him. Think about it. Am I the only one who could see that? I said from the beginning, not a good idea to have Paul Ryan as Speaker of the House. I said, this guy wants this position too bad. And everybody told me, no, he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. And now we got him, and look what happened.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
One of the best non-investment investments I have made, and it was in my car. This car is now 10 years old. Believe it or not, it's now 10 years old. I don't like buying cars. I love cars. I really do. I just don't like buying them. And I don't like going through the process, whether it's a used car or a new car, going through the whole process of buying a car. I hate doing that. I don't like buying cars. And I also know that a car, unless it's a classic, is not an investment. Obviously, this car, 10 years later, is worth less than what I paid for it. But it's still going strong. I have no desire or need to replace it yet. Now, when it becomes necessary, when it becomes economically better to replace it than to repair it, and I haven't really had to repair it, which is why I still have it. It's a Scion TC. You can't get them anymore. Toyota dropped the Scion brand, and they dropped the TC. But I love the car. Still do. gets me where I want to go. It still looks good. It still performs well. It's starting to show some age, and you start to feel it in the right. I think I need to replace the suspension on it now. By the way, knock on wood, just so people understand not to buy cheap stuff, I still have the original battery. I've never had to replace, now watch, now that I said it, I'm going to have to replace the battery. I haven't had to replace that battery. It is a 10-year-old battery. Does anybody? I know people that have, they had their car for 2 years and they had to replace the battery. They bought it brand new off the lot. They had to replace the battery in 2 years. 10 years later, I still have the original In fact, I have original everything except for brakes and tires on that car. Nothing has been replaced. Now, watch, I'm probably going to have to go through a bunch of replacements now. I probably shouldn't have said that. But anyway, that's why I consider that one to be the best non-investment investment I have ever made. Toyotas are, known to be good cars, but some people say I'm lucky in that. I don't know. I take care of my stuff because I don't want to have to replace it sooner than I should. So I will drive this until it just doesn't make any sense to repair it. It's just going to die. I know I'm going to be out in some trip someplace on the road, like probably driving out to in the middle of Kentucky somewhere for some reason, and then it'll just totally die. And the dealer, the repair shop say, yeah, it's going to cost you about $3,000 to replace the engine. You're going to be here for about a week, or, need a new engine in it. And at that point, I'll just say, forget it. But until that time, some people say I'm crazy. I know that there are cars now that get better gas. For a while there, the reason people were getting new cars was because the newer cars were getting better gas mileage, and my car was getting better gas mileage than the new stuff up until about 3 or 4 years ago. So now I can get a car that gets, mine gets about. Averages somewhere between 32 to 35 miles per gallon, and now I can get a similar car, not a TC, but similar in that same size range, that gets about 40. Okay, that may make sense to upgrade now. But before it didn't. Yeah. But our government doesn't do that, by the way. They don't use stuff that makes sense until it makes sense. They constantly want to utilize and throw away and get the newest, better thing, newest and better, bigger, better deal, and the newer and bigger, better deal doesn't often work out. Our military has for a while there was experienced that as well in some of the equipment and some of the stuff that last, they wanted to replace. I mean, do people realize that the Humvee? You know how good that thing is? They wanted to replace that thing years ago. And they were told by some of the brass, no, we don't want to replace this. There's nothing better than this out there. And they were right. That doesn't often happen in government. Really, it doesn't. Occasionally they get it right, too. And then sometimes they hold on to things too long simply because the original thing was good, was very good, but there is something better out there. And I think they're finally coming about to replacing the Humvee with something, I forget what it's called. It looks like it's going to be badass for the next 10 or 15 years, too. But anyway, it is what it is, folks. We'll be right back.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
Bring the rain.
Welcome back. The Senate may not be able to avoid the nuclear option. And, you know, I see a lot of people talking about how bad this is going to be if McConnell has to utilize the nuclear option. And frankly, I don't think it's all that bad. This is affectionately called the Byrd Rule. Robert Byrd came up with this ridiculous notion. And this is not in the Constitution. This is just Senate rules. And Senate rules often change. But this is not the way that the founders had really thought that this should be done either. And indeed, for 150 years or so, it wasn't done this way. You needed 60. A super majority, 60 votes. Really? That's ludicrous. It's supposed to be a representative democracy. Yes, we are a constitutional republic. Basically mean that people directly and indirectly elect their officials. And it's based on, whoever gets more than 50% of the vote wins. If it's 50.1%, if it's 50% plus one, that's who wins. So why this whole notion that when you get to certain things in our government, that you need more than 50% plus one is beyond me. Now, I know sometimes it works in our favor, especially when it comes to liberals wanting to pack liberal ideas or liberal people in certain positions. Needing the 60 vote has prevented some of that, but it didn't prevent enough, by the way, as we can see. It has prevented some of that stuff, but most of the stuff is still 50% plus one. And that's all it takes. That's all it should take. That's all it was supposed to take. It's the way it works everywhere else in our government, in our country. Not to mention, everybody's saying, well, he shouldn't do this, he shouldn't do that. McConnell shouldn't push the nuclear button on this. Why? Because the Democrats already did it on lower courts. The only court that's now the 60 super majority is the Supreme Court. None of the other judges anywhere in the country is at a 60 needing a 60 super majority of 60 votes. It's 50% plus one. That's it. And yeah, I understand this is how a lot of these, district judges got onto the district courts in places because that's all they really needed was 50% plus one. That's why it's important to elect the right people. Because when you elect the right people, they're going to nominate to appoint the right people. At least we have a better shot of appointing the right people. We've obviously been disappointed before. Chief Justice Roberts, anybody? We thought we had a good. Neil Gorsuch could be the same way. We really, those of us on the right, we were really, really loving the fact that G.W. Bush nominated Roberts. We love that idea. Now, we realize that later we got burned in some key issues by him, but you never know. You can never predict what people are going to do in the future. You can utilize their history and say, well, they're more likely to go in this direction than against it. But it doesn't mean that they're never going to go against that direction and do something totally different or unexpected, which Roberts did, especially on Obamacare. And Neil Gorsuch could do the same thing. He really could. We don't know. It is unlikely, but it's still a possibility. So you can only base your decision on this type of stuff based on the person's history. And Gorsuch, the history of Gorsuch would suggest that he would be a staunch originalist, much like Antonin Scalia. Now, when it's all said and done, 20 years from now, we look back on all the court history of Gorsuch. Are we going to say the same thing? I don't know. Hopefully, we'll be able to say the same thing. We might not. It might be like Roberts. But the whole point is that the Democrats have said for years and years and years, the president should, for the most part, the president should get who they want. Well, I guess they really meant a Democratic president should get who they want as long as we agree with them. But Republicans should never get who they want. The Republicans should nominate somebody that we want. Democrats, these people are just so redonkulous when it comes to this stuff. They lost. These are the same people that told the right, everybody in the right, to get over it. Obama won, we lost. Get over it. They told us that for 8 freaking years. Get over it. And so now they can't even take their own advice. They lost. We won. We won big. And yet they can't get over it. Somehow when they lose, it's not their fault. We just didn't get our message out because the lamestream media who's in our back pocket didn't get our message out. But the American people still believe in what we put forth. They will not accept the fact that the American people have rejected their ideas. We fully understood and got the message, and we rejected their message. They just don't want to accept that. So right now, the Senate evidently is running out of compromises to avoid the nuclear option in the Gorsuch vote, and that's coming. It's scheduled to happen tomorrow. I don't see anything wrong with getting rid of this supermajority Byrd rule in the first place. It's not a bad. The Republicans should push the button and just get it done with, and then make sure everybody knows that the Democrats did it first when it came to lower court judges. They did, and they should make this a campaign rally for 2018 and 2020. Look, the Democrats were stood in the way of finding people who want to protect your constitutional rights. Don't elect these people. Don't elect those kinds of people anymore because they're there to take away your rights. Plain and simple. That's all they want to do. They want big, bad government to interfere with your daily life. They want to take away your God-given and your constitutional rights. Period. Plain and simple. That's, if they do that, they will continue to defeat Democrats from local to state to national offices all over the country for the foreseeable future. That's what Republicans have to do, man. That's what they have to. Go ahead, they're so worried about the optics of this. What do people think if we do that? Hey, screw what people will think. The reality is that whenever conservative ideals are tried, they succeed. And people enjoy the success of those conservatives. They'll vote you back. Notice when Republicans lose is when they try to act like a liberal or a moderate. Or they give in to liberal or moderate ideals. George H.W. Bush, anybody? No new taxes. Okay, well, maybe this one time we'll get new taxes. But he got booted and we got Clinton. You think they would have learned their lesson by that, but good God almighty, they don't ever seem to learn their lesson. The blue bloods don't. They still have this thing that they think that the only way to expand the GOP and to get more people to follow their lead is if they were to moderate their position. And the more they moderate, the more to the left the liberals go, which means the more moderation that Republicans have to do. The more moderating. So now it is at the point where you have the blue blood Republicans who are really nothing more than JFK conservative Democrats. That's exactly what they are. Now, being a conservative Democrat is not necessarily all that bad. It's not being a real conservative, Republican conservative, or constitutional conservative, but it's better than being these liberal nut jobs that the Democrat Party is replete with at this very moment. Now, what happens if you move to the left? And both parties are left of center. Well, hello, say goodbye to the Constitution. Do they not realize this is what the American people do not want to have happen? They don't want a liberal socialist communist party and then a moderate liberal party without any balancing conservative party. It's not what the American people want. That's not what the Constitution would want. That's not how the Constitution is going to survive. And that's not how this nation, as we know it, is going to survive. We got all these idiots in Congress talking about, well, tradition. This is the traditional. We got to protect Senate tradition. Screw Senate tradition. How about we protect the tradition of the Constitution, the American tradition of freedom, of liberty, of self-determination? How about that? Nobody seems to want to protect that tradition. Well, I mean, there are some that do. The conservative caucus in the House and Senate. It's beyond me why we want to always appease the left. The left never wants to or even attempts to appease the right. Why is it always the right that has to appease the left? I mean, this is ridiculous. It's like, whenever our State Department, we always have to do things. They always have to have adjust protocol to fit the leader of another country. When you go there to their country, fine. Kowtow to their tradition, that's fine. It is their country after all. But when they come here, it's amazing how, when we go there, we're supposed to appease them and kowtow to their tradition. And when they come here, they expect us to kowtow to their... No, screw that. You come here, you do things our way. But Rod, that's not how you win. No, it is how you win friends and influence people. You don't win friends and influence people, but they don't respect you if you kowtow to them. They don't respect you at all. They respect you if you... do you think Putin runs around the world, kowtowing to every other nation's agenda and traditions? No, he doesn't. And what happens? They may not agree with him, but they sure as hell respect him. You got Obama running around apologizing for the U.S. for being strong and apologizing this, and we should be more open to this country's traditions and that country's traditions, and nobody respected him. I think you're going to have a lot of countries that they may not like Donald Trump. But again, this is not about being liked. They will respect the hell out of him. And believe it or not, that kind of respect actually turns into like. Look what the king of Jordan yesterday, when they're trying to get the king to say, well, Donald Trump, he's got this. Does he really need to moderate and change his position in the Middle East? And the king of Jordan basically said, hell no, he's got the right idea. Well, that's respect. Respect breeds cooperation. Cooperation breeds success. Success breeds like. It's hard not to like somebody that you're successful with. Really. I mean, if you're out to be liked, Donald Trump is not out to be liked. But if you're out to be liked, then do something that is successful. And keep doing successful stuff. And the people that don't like you will eventually, hey, I like this guy, because every time we get together and we do something with him, we're a success at it. How do you not like somebody you're successful with? I mean, it's just, you may not have a love fest. I mean, take a look at Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. They didn't really like each other all that much. There was no love fest there. But when they started to collaborate on certain things and those certain things became highly successful, do you think that they liked each other? Yeah. When it came to that, those particular types of things, yeah, they liked each other. They were still competitors, but they still liked each other and they respected each other. Now, if their collaborations ended in utter failure, yeah, you probably would have seen a hatred play out in business circles like never before. But you know how you get people to like you and respect you? Is standing on your own 2 feet and collaborating with them so they also see success and win as well. That's how, because then they're going to say, I like doing business with him. I'm not going to do business with anybody else. I like doing business with him. No need to do it with somebody else. This guy's already, proven that whenever we get together and do something, we're successful. That's how you win friends and influence people. Standing on your own 2 feet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Well, we had a full boat today. We were loaded to bear and didn't get through even half the paper pile this morning. So we'll probably have to cover some of this tomorrow, which is Freedom Friday's edition. So we'll get to some of that tomorrow, most likely. The rumors, we'll get to the Bannon thing. There's a lot more involved than the lamestream media. They're just beside themselves. They're all panting with excitement. Steve Bannon's been demoted. Nah, not really. Maybe tomorrow I'll tell you exactly why it's not really a demotion. There is a shakeup and a change, but it's not really a demotion. Susan Rice, her long history of covering for the Obamas, we'll have to get to that tomorrow as well. California Senate approves sanctuary state bill. Yeah, that's the state Senate. They've approved a statewide sanctuary bill. They'd be the first sanctuary state. This is this is a state that's been has been putting its hand out asking for federal assistance, but they don't want to help the federal government do anything. Hey, just give us money. And they wrongfully state, well, it's our money anyway because we sent it to. No, it's not the state's money. It's the federal government's money. And if you want more money for yourself, then maybe you should start electing officials who think that it's not good for the federal government to take money out of your state citizens' pockets so that money can stay there. The more money that stays within the state, the better for that state. Because let's face it, laundering it in Washington, D.C. and then sending it back is not very efficient. A lot of those dollars get eaten up by the Washington political machine, and very little of it goes back to the state. I mean, that's an inane system. It's just all it is a system of now. This is interesting. California, a high tax, high control, government controlling liberal state, is trying to tell the government that the federal government, that they should not be controlling the interests of the state. Yet the state wants to control everything. Now, you want to talk about a bunch of hypocrites? How hypocritical is that? That's California's approving. It looks like they may. Well, if it ever gets to the governor's desk, Jerry Brown's desk, I am sure he's going to sign that into. Well, he'll make that happen. I don't know how you can sign something that's illegal into law, but he'll definitely try to make it happen. Don't doubt me on that, folks. Do not doubt me at all. I know it's just one of those things that we have to put up with and deal with and all that kind of stuff. Is the state hypocritical liberals? They can't help themselves. They're just giant hypocrites. And if you expect anything less from them, then you don't understand liberals like I do. I fully understand liberals like I understand. I know them better than I know my own glorious body, which I'm getting back into top physical condition. Something about TB12 too. That's Tom Brady's thing about how Tom Brady is able to stay in young peak physical condition even at the age of 39 or 40. We'll probably talk about that tomorrow as well, because tomorrow is Freedom Friday, basically Open Mic Friday. We'll talk about just about anything under the sun. Until then, have yourselves a wonderful Thursday afternoon. Thanks for listening. I'm Rod Eccles. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain what, why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat apple file? A Clinton plays a victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the